Welcome everybody, welcome to Maple Leaf Gardens. I hope you appreciate the environment, the new space. I believe we're going to have a hockey practice. The Ryerson hockey team will be having a practice at some point soon, if not now. That adds maybe to the flavor, color of the event. I'm Brian Evans. I'm a member of the Department of Politics and Public Administration at Ryerson. I've been organizing the Phyllis Clarke lecture now for 10 years, 10th one tonight, and hopefully one more to come in 2014. And then other people will pick up from there and continue on. I want to thank, in terms of having 10 years of Phyllis Clarke lecture, CUPE Ontario, and a number of the CUPE locals at Ryerson, Local 233, 1281, and 3904. Well, maybe in terms of sequencing, I should ask Dawn. Where are you, Dawn? To introduce the actual lecture and provide a bit of biography about Phyllis, and then I can introduce Dr. Kadir. Come on up, Dawn.
And we're very happy to support this lecture. And actually, you're right to the actual day. Phyllis Clarke died on March 21st, 1988, which I believe would be almost to the day 25 years ago. She lived a life devoted to socialism, trade unionism, feminism, community activism, and teaching. A longtime member of the Communist Party, she ran unsuccessfully for elected office several times. And while living in Saskatchewan, she ran in 1953 federal election in Prince Albert, where she lost to John Diefenbaker, who later became Canada's 13th Prime Minister. In Toronto in 1962, she ran in the federal constituency of Davenport, losing to Walter Gordon, who went on to be Minister of Finance and President of the Privy Council in the Liberal government of Lester Pearson. Also in 1962, she ran for a seat on the Toronto Board of Control. Her obituary in the Toronto Star reported that the Toronto media expressed surprise that she received 16,555 votes. Phyllis served on the Toronto Public Library Board from 77 to 84, and as its chair from 79 to 80. She played an important role in making public libraries more committed to Canadian literature and multicultural lingual literature. The Toronto Reference Library now holds her papers, the Nelson and Phyllis Clarke papers, in the Baldwin Room. She was active in labor struggles from the 1940s onward, and for CUPE, she was a founding member of the Graduate Assistants Association, which became the Canadian Union of Educational Workers in 1980, and then the CUEW amalgamated with the Canadian Union of Public Employees in 1995. For the CUEW, she undertook one of the first studies in Canada of the unequal place of women faculty members in Canadian universities. Phyllis joined the Department of Politics at Ryerson in 1977 and helped define its commitment to intellectual inquiry and social justice. One colleague wrote in the memorial tribute in the Socialist Studies Bulletin that with Phyllis passing, socialism has lost a champion. I believe she was famous on campus for dragging around a oxygen tank and puffing on Galauzi cigarettes. Is that how you pronounce it? Galauzi or Galauzi? Not sure. Phyllis was predeceased by her husband Nelson in 1982, and she was survived by her stepdaughter, Leslie Towers. Thank you.
A bit about Phyllis. I think it's entirely appropriate that we have somebody like Dr. Kadir here tonight. And by way of an introduction, as I said, I'll tell you a bit about Amir's background. He was first elected a member of the Quebec National Assembly in 2008. And at that time, the only member of Quebec Solidaire to be elected. And in fact, indeed, he was the only MNA until the election in October, November of 2012, and he was joined by one more member. And I'd like to point out that shortly after that, he's one of the few politicians anywhere, maybe in North America, to actually have a beer named after him. in one of the better microbreweries in Quebec, brewed a beer in honor of Amir Kadir. And they write, made with golden hops in honor of Amir Kadir, who was elected on December 8, 2008, as a member of the National Assembly of Quebec for the County of Mercier, and the first from Quebec Solidaire. I think, coming from Northern Ontario, I find that quite impressive. He was, up until the last provincial election, as I mentioned, the sole elected member of Quebec Solidaire, and up until November 2012, he served as co-leader of the party. And in 2010, a provincial poll found him to be the most popular politician in Quebec, with an approval rating of a rather astounding 45%. Yes. He was born in Tehran, Iran, and immigrated to Canada in 1971 at the age of 10. He studied at the universities of Montreal, McGill, and Laval, where he obtained an MD, specializing in infectious microbiology. Indeed, he continues to practice medicine, and as a medical professional is active in a number of non-governmental organizations which campaign against the privatization of healthcare in Quebec. And connected to his medical background, he's led a number of healthcare fact-finding missions to Iraq, Afghanistan, and the Palestinian territories. In addition to all of that, of course, Dr. Kadir has been a political activist and campaigner on a wide variety of issues. In addition to all of that, including the 1980 sovereignty referendum and ongoing opposition to the regime in Iran. Obviously, he played a vital role in the realignment of the Quebec left, and in particular around the establishment of the Union of Progressive Forces in 2002, which established the foundation for what became Quebec Solidaire. Clearly, I think we all recognize Quebec Solidaire is unique in North America, an explicitly anti-neoliberal party with a membership of 14,000, which is truly remarkable when you think about the state of the non-social democratic left in Canada and North America generally. It is a party which is an organic expression of a range of social movements, and a party which has become a real electoral force, maybe not contending for governmental power, but able to collect sufficient support and inject different ideas and perspectives into debate, which actually shift the electoral terrain without actually contending for power yet, perhaps. But I'll leave it to Dr. Kadir to elaborate on all of that. So I'd like to invite Dr. Kadir to come up and speak. Thank you.